What's going on, guys? It's your boy Brendan, aka Drip, back with another video and another deck profile. Today's deck profile is going to be one I haven't really updated in like almost a year. I think it's been about 7-8 months since I've updated this deck profile, and honestly quite a lot has actually changed. I mean, it's Danger Dark World, not much like for the core itself will be changed, but there's a lot of tech cards that I've decided to run in the main and not run the main because formats change, decks change. It's just how it goes. And I'll talk a little more about that when I get in there. But again, guys, if you don't mind, please hit that subscribe button. If you haven't already, please hit that like button and then the notification bell so you never miss an upload. I got a handful of deck profiles and some 10 openings and stuff like that coming out soon, so you don't want to miss any of that good stuff. Jeremy's back full-fledged pretty much. He is going to be doing some profiles for you guys too, along with the openings. He recently him and his brother got over COVID, but the rest of the family still struggling with that, so keep his family in your prayers, guys. Yeah, we'll finally get to see Jeremy on the channel again, so let's get a like for that at least. But moving on, again, I'm excited to bring this profile to you guys. So again, hit that like button, and let's go ahead and get into this. Not much to really need to be said with this profile. A lot of it's pretty standard and straightforward. One thing I will say is people really like to sleep on this deck. The only issue I have with this deck is it's just too RNG based for me, but it is one of my all-time favorite decks. Probably top 5 easy, because just how fun it is and how explosive it can be. But to start off, we got 3 Grapha. It's kind of dumb to run 2 of this card, honestly. I've seen some people run 2, but hey, if it works for you, that's all that matters, I guess. I'm gonna try to zoom in a little bit, okay? But yeah, I like it at 3. Also, since last time I'm recording this deck profile, I still only have the max rarity is what I got. I have everything in Alti, I think, except for Dark World Dealings. Outside of that, I have everything max rarity. Sadly, I think I did say I was going to get the rest of them. I just haven't got the time to since then. Everything else has been coming out in staples and stuff, and just kind of got in the way of that. But we got 3 Grapha. Grapha is mandatory, I think, as a 3-0 because you want to see him. There's times at 3, and with all the draw power this deck has, it's kind of hard to get him to hand at certain times, and you really need him to help you break that board. And then Brow is just Brow because it's upstart when it gets discarded pretty much, but better. And since all these are old, they're a soft once return pretty much, so like you could just keep going off pretty much for the most part on most of them. And then we got Snow. Snow's really good because she's your Rhoda for the deck when she gets discarded. So like, but you're only going to really use her like, she's usually the one you want to banish off of gates. Really, you don't really want to banish any of the other ones. Once you use her for her effect, this is usually how you search your Grapha, so indirectly you're kind of running 6 Grapha in that regard. But there is some situations where like I have to use her to search Grapha because you don't have no other way to get it to your hand, because you don't see it when you draw it. But this deck, like, I don't know, it's for the most part, obviously it has a lot of draw cards, I get that, but the consistency is actually really good, really high for this deck, which I guess you can, like I said before, you can kind of that kind of comes with the drawing, but it also searches at the same sense. My ratios are, I stick to by them. And then I got 2 beige. I'll put them over here, sorry. 2 silver, 2 Lucent, 1 gold. I'll explain the ratios. Again, 3 Grapha you need to break the board. And he's a level 8, which plays with our extra deck. Brow is a level 4, and he draws, which is a soft once per turn, and he plays with our extra deck because he's a level 4. Snow is our Rhoda, Beige is a level 4 that replaces itself when it gets discarded. Silva's just there because he replaces himself when he's discarded, and he's an ulti, and I want to be able to run both ultis. Lucien is big, and he replaces himself, and then Gold's the same thing. He's just a free body, right? And all you want to do is put bodies on board because it fuels your Grapha, and it fuels your extra deck, and it fuels the OTK. So this is pretty much the standard lineup that I've been running in Dark World for a long time, except for back in the Sky Striker days. I was running the little guy when he gets, I can't remember his name, but when he's discarded, he summons himself to your opponent's side of the field. So that's, if you're worried about Striker, you can side it, or you can even run it as a one of, but if you have big Striker locals. But I wouldn't consider running in the side at all. If anything, you can run in the side, I mean in the main at all, you can consider running in the side. But no, this is my lineup, and this is pretty much standard for my lineup that I like to run. You can run what you like, but this is my lineup. This is what I like for the Dark Worlds, that is. Because they all replace themselves, they all put bodies on board, they all get big, and they all do something that I want them to do. And they all help fuel my extra deck in some sorts outside of Silva and Lucien. Moving on to the Dangers. Dangers is... It can be all personal preference, but this is the Danger lineup I want. There's one little change I would do, which I'll explain more of that when we get there. Start out, we got 3 Mothman. He's a level 4. On top of he's a level 4, he's your draw card. You're going to draw no matter what with this card. So like I said, on top of the fact he's a 4 and he fuels your rank 4s in your extra deck, he gives you a draw regardless. And discard too. So that's why he's a mandatory 3 of. 2 Bigfoot. He's a pop and he's a level 8. He helps you break boards. He's pseudo and indirectly extra copies of Grapha indirectly because he breaks boards and he's a level 8. And then 1 Thunderbird. 2-1 I really like. If back row is like, I mean, I hate back row in general, you all know that. But I don't see a reason to play 2 of this, my personal opinion. Then 1 Jack. 1 Chupacabra. This is the only one I would even possibly consider running 2 of because he's a level 4 and he's a fiend, and he gives you a body back. But I don't own a second copy, so I still stick with 1. But he's one of the only ones I would consider. Then 1 Such, and then the other one that's a pseudo 2 of because it just recently came to 2 is 1 Nessie. I don't own a second copy. Sadly, when Nessie got put to 1, I sold all my other copies back when they're at their highest price, so I can make profit or money. But no, Nessie and Chupacabra are the only ones I would consider running at 2, outside of the ones that I already have. Let me scoot things over. Sorry. But yes, this is my Danger lineup. And then pretty much 1 honorary is 1 Pank because it's going second deck. So, but Danger lineup itself, actual Dangers, this is pretty much like standard for the most part, outside of the ones that I just mentioned. But you can play with the Dangers ratios if you like, but this is what works for me, and it's pretty consistent. Moving on to the spells. Our draw cards, where we draw. Lure of Darkness because it's pot of greed, free real estate. 3 dealings, sorry. 3 dealings. I really kind of hate this card because your opponent pluses, but because it applies a lot of pressure on you to make sure you break your opponent's board or OTK them. But there's so many decks that going around right now with 1-card combos. It kind of sucks, and there's a lot of recovery with a lot of decks too. So if you're not OTKing, then it applies a lot of pressure for you to do something in order to try to slow your opponents down on their turn, which Dark World doesn't really do that much. That's why it forces you to use something with your extra deck. And then 2 Response Team, because it's Response Team. It's really busted. A lot of Danger Dark World decks don't run this, and I literally don't understand why. It just mind boggles me. It's insane. Because I have literally like played against like Virtual World, for an example. normal summoned a danger and then used response team to bounce their Kaliga and then my danger back to my hand, and I haven't even really played yet because this deck doesn't really need a normal summon. And then I think 2 gates is mandatory. 2 gates is very mandatory in my personal opinion, because if you draw another one over it, you can just activate 1 over 1 and then use its effect again. On top of that, your opponent destroys 1. You have a second copy in the deck that you can play with. Gates comes up a lot. I'm telling you, definitely when you're running out of cards in hand, because this deck can lose card advantage very quickly. If you're not too careful, it'll come back to haunt you. So like for an example, if you had Gates and then you had Chupacabra in hand, you can pretty much plus and somewhat make your hand back, or try to at least your field advantage. And then onto the power 1-ofs. Card destruction's busted in this deck. Don't need to say much about it. I am still main decking 1 Regeki and then the 1 Duster. I just recently added in the main because this deck struggles with back row, and if they're playing a back row heavy deck, you just drop Duster on them, and then you just literally have a free pathway to just completely OTK them. And if not, every deck for the most part is running some kind of spell or trap that you could easily just get rid of, so it doesn't hurt that this card is in there. But yeah, that's it for the main deck. Nothing I would really change outside the danger stuff that I mentioned. The extra deck I feel is like 99% complete, and I'll tell you the only thing that would potentially change. And the first one is literally Phoenix. Phoenix is one of the ones I could potentially change, but you, like I said, you really don't want to deal with back row. This is pretty much mandatory. The reason why is because I would rather be IP Masquerena for obviously for the unicorn stuff and shenanigans. But yeah, right now it's Phoenix for a couple of reasons. 1, because I can't find my Masquerena. And 3, every time I decide to probably cut that card, I end up needing Phoenix, so it is what it is. But I would probably rather it be the IP, because when I was playtesting with it, you could just make Appaloosa on your opponent's turn and you have some kind of negation. 1 Boil Sword to help with game. 1 Appaloosa for obvious reasons. And then the real good spice in this deck, man, this card is ridiculous. In this deck, because you're playing a going second deck, an OTK based deck, so its drawback doesn't really affect you, and that is number 60 Dagaris. This card is nuts. Draw 2, discard 1. Okay, you're drawing 2 and you're discard 1. It's a better version of Dark World Dealings, because you're drawing 2 instead of 1, and you're the only one drawing, and you're discarding 1. So it's so much better and it gives you so much advantage with breaking boards, popping cards, getting stuff in the grave, getting hand advantage and stuff like that. And its deck can put up rank 4s easily. Another rank 4 we play is Dweller, because a lot of stuff runs through the graveyard. And if we need to stall, we run Baguska, so we can try to draw to get hand advantage again at least. Then the OTK button, obviously 97, a Hope Harbinger, number 100, and then I still swear by the Heart and Earth Dragon too. Depending on the situation, they make you go first. You can make whatever you want. And then more for generic rank 8s, we got Dingirsu, because it's pretty much spot removal, and he's a generic level 8. Then we are running the Photon Lord and just the full armor, because you get a monster negate and you get a pop off of full armor, and full armor is my favorite Galaxy Eyes card. If you know me, you know I play Galaxy Eyes. It's like one of my main decks I play. Full armor is my favorite one in the extra deck. Fun fact, I'm sure some of y'all already know. And then obviously, if you haven't guessed it already, the last card in the extra deck is Zeus. I know this isn't, it's probably more budget now since the tin cans come out, but this card is bananas in this deck, because you can wipe your whole board, you and your opponent's board, normal summon any of your Dark Worlds, and then just use Grapha to bring the Dark World back to your hand, and then you pretty much have 6K on board right there. So, and you can get like I think you can get him close to 4 materials, if not more, with if you go the Photon Lord route. But yeah, that's basically it for the deck. This deck can be very explosive, but it is very RNG based. Just the die has to roll the right way for you with the dangers and stuff. But like I said before, there's nothing I would actually change about the deck. My Dark World ratios are staying the way they are. The spell cards are staying where they are. The only thing I would change is potentially the 1-to-2 ratio with the dangers. But I did want to update this deck profile for you guys with the newer cards, the newer tech options. I've been wanting to play Dark Worlds for a while, so that's why I decided to tinker around with it a little bit, switch it up from the previous format, like formats ago when I last updated it. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to try out this build or try out this deck, I 100% think you should. It's fairly cheap. You can get the lower rarities of everything for very, very cheap, and it's a very, very good going second deck. It's just, like I said, the die has to roll the right way for you. That's it. But when it does, and it goes off. But again, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be on the lookout for future content. I have a handful of stuff flowing out for you guys. I'm constantly trying to find new things and new videos to put out for you guys. Along with that, some of those that deck profiles that some of y'all have requested. They'll be coming out. Jeremy worked on it and pretty much had him just has to pretty much make the video now. He made that profile. I didn't really work on it. So thank Jeremy when he gets that out there. But again, you all have a wonderful day, night, morning, evening, whenever you're watching this video. Hope you guys are staying safe out there in the age of COVID. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already as well. Hit the bell notification so you never miss an upload, and become part of the D2D fam by joining the Discord or hitting the PayPal in the description below to support the channel. We are a big family down there in the Discord. If you aren't already a member of the Discord, we're literally just a big family. It's the kind of environment I want to have. We like to laugh, joke, trade cards, help one another out, whatever the situation may be, sell cards. Just create a nice family environment, and if you feel like you could support that, then be a part of that, then by all means, come join the family, guys. But again, you all take care. You have an awesome day. Whenever you're watching this video, drip out. Peace. Good dueling, my guys.